right. Good morning, friends. Welcome to Tuesdays with Monty. Today is Tuesday, November 16th, 2021. I hope you're having a great day. It's a sunny, fine day here in Michigan. Getting ready for Thanksgiving next week. Just a programming note. Next week we'll be off in observance of the holiday. Not that Tuesday is when Thanksgiving occurs, but it's certainly when a lot of the prep is occurring. And I know a lot of people are busy this time of the year. So want to make sure people have an opportunity to get where they're going and to focus on what's important to them. And that really brings us to the topic of the conversation I wanted to cover today, which is all about the importance of putting your focus where it matters. I don't know if you happen to see this week's Timeless and Timely newsletter, but it was all about what's required for success, the common denominator for success. And it comes from a speech that was given in 1940 by an insurance salesman by the name of Albert E.N. Gray. And he identified the common denominator of success to simply be this: doing things that people don't normally like to do, right? It's to concentrate on the little things, the necessary things, but the things that might not seem sexy or worthwhile. And this is interesting because a lot of people have their mind focused on the big goal, but they don't necessarily want to do the small things in order to achieve the big things. And his philosophy was, look, you have to create some kind of emotion around it. It can't just be a logical set of things that you're putting out that you simply must achieve every day. It really is a matter of creating some emotion around it and creating some habits around it as well. So you might want to take a look at that on timelesstimely.com or on scottmonty.com if you haven't yet subscribed. And the reason this is in my mind this week is for a couple of reasons. One, you'll note the book behind me, The Long Game by Dorie Clark. Dorie is my guest on Timeless Leadership this week. She'll be joining me live on Fireside Chat tomorrow, Wednesday, November 17th at 10:30 a.m. If you haven't gotten Fireside Chat yet, go check it out in the App Store and download it and follow me there. We'll be having this conversation for about an hour, and you'll have a chance to ask Dorie questions and participate in the conversation. If you miss it, no worries, because it's going to be carried as a recorded podcast as well. But it's talking with Dorie about why we need to get out of our short-term thinking and really stick with things in the long term. And this, in turn, was kind of reflected by some of what I saw happening in the news in the last week or so with a decision by GE and Johnson & Johnson. Both have decided that as conglomerates, they don't make sense, that things are too complex and they are so wound up that there is no value being extracted from the corporate entity. And GE said that it's breaking up into three different divisions: aviation, healthcare, and energy. Its three core divisions. Now, when you think about GE from its time in, let's even say from the 1960s. I think I can see if I can bring up a chart here of the GE stock graph. We'll take care to, let's see, I will share this tab right here. You take a look at GE stock price from 1960, I think it is, 1962. There it is. You got it there, 1962. And I mean, it's almost negligible stock price there. But when Jack Welch took over as CEO, he took over as CEO in 1981. He was CEO and chairman. And you look at the stock price barely moving, just slightly up from where it was in 1962. And during Jack Welch's reign, which lasted until, I think 2000, that was the height of the chart. And what was Jack Welch's philosophy? What was his business strategy at that point? Well, put simply, it was acquisition. GE acquired more and more companies, including NBC. Now, why would a what had traditionally been an appliances company and a manufacturing company want to get involved in broadcasting? And if you ever watched 30 Rock, you would see how ridiculous it is or was trying to insert some of those appliance mentions into the broadcast. But over time, what ended up happening was GE lost focus. Right? It had all of these divisions that it put together under the Jack Welch reign, and it made GE lose focus. Same with Johnson and Johnson. I mean, we may know J&J from its early beginnings with Band-Aids and Q-tips and other healthcare essentials, but it also evolved into a pharmaceutical giant. So it's not only a shampoo and baby powder and lotions and things, but actual pharmaceuticals. And now Johnson and Johnson wants to split apart into its healthcare products division and its pharmaceuticals division. And naturally, as you would imagine, it wants to focus on pharmaceuticals. Why? Profit. Very simple. But look, this is the core of what drives businesses. Without profit, they can't improve and do better. And ultimately, if you're not focused, you're not going to be profitable. When I joined Ford Motor Company in 2008, it was a house of brands. You walk in there, and certainly there were the core brands of Ford, Mercury, no longer now, and Lincoln, but also Volvo, Aston Martin, Land Rover, Jaguar, Mazda. It was literally a house of brands. And what this meant is that people weren't able to focus on the core fundamentals of what made Ford Ford. And in Alan Mullally's tenure there, the Mercury brand was axed and the rest of the brands were sold off so that Ford could focus, like any global powerhouse automaker, focus on its core brand and its luxury brand, Ford and Lincoln. And that's what you have today. And I mean, I'm not a casual observer. I still have kind of a vested interest there in seeing them succeed. You will see that Ford has been able largely to do extremely well because of its focus. Pun not intended. And they've actually eliminated cars. So they're focusing on trucks and SUVs and electric and electrified vehicles. But with that level of focus comes more responsibility, comes better performance, comes profitability. If we would just allow ourselves to step back, focus on the things that matter, focus on the things that drive our success, just like Mr. Gray recommended, doing those things that other people simply don't want to do. And that'll really help us achieve the success that we want in the long haul. I see we have a few comments coming in. Fred Faulkner, good to see you. He says, why don't we put this up so everyone can see? Fred says, I love the concept of focus. What is the value proposition? And deliver on that value and focus. Well, that's just it, Fred. Without knowing what it is that we're focused on, we can't really ascertain what we really value or what it is that should be valued in how we actually try to do business. Ultimately, we'll see focus based on the things that are doing well, the things that are failing. And it could be focus on the people on our teams. It could be a focus on the products that we're putting out. But when you can't focus on relationships, right? When you can't focus on a strategy, right? And you let things distract you in the short term because you're too busy or you're always going from one thing to another, flitting from here to there. Well, that's where we run into the danger of losing sight of what's the most valuable and what drives our success. Friends, I thank you for joining me today. I do this every Tuesday for about 10-15 minutes live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. And I hope you have the opportunity to do that once again, not next week because it's Thanksgiving, the week after that here on Tuesdays with Monty. Thanks so much, and I'll see you on the internet.